funding the future. Thanks for joining us tonight. We know your time is valuable. My name is Abby Hemingway, and I'm the Public Information and Outreach Manager for the Space Coast Transportation Planning Organization. And before we get started, I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in tonight's event. First, a few housekeeping items. For those in person here, restrooms are located down the hall near the entrance of the building. Please silence your cell phones during the presentation, and please hold all comments for the formal public comment period, which will be after the presentation. Additionally, we'd like to take a moment to recognize our elected officials in the room, as well as our advisory committee and governing board members. If you're here joining us tonight, if you please raise your hand so we can recognize your ongoing support and leadership. Thank you for being here tonight. We really appreciate it. Tonight we have attendees in the room, as you can see, some online joining us virtually on our YouTube live channel. So at this time, we'd like to review the public comment process that will occur after the presentation. As a reminder, the Space Coast TPO adheres to Title VI policy. Public comments are solicited without regard to race, color, national origin, age, sex, religion, disability, or family status. Please hold all comments again for the formal public comment period after the presentation. For our in-person attendees, you may fill out a speaker card. You can visit Zoe out at the sign-in table at any point in the program, because we'll have the ability to do that at the end. And if you're viewing online and you wish to make a public comment regarding the open house or the draft list of project priorities or the transportation improvement program, which we'll discuss tonight, you may submit comments in the YouTube live chat, or you can email them to me afterward at abby.hemingway@sctpo.com. Make sure you label that public comment and include your name, email, and phone number. All of our applicable submitted public comments will be read aloud tonight during the public comment portion of the program, and public comments are limited to 3 minutes. And this time frame will be adhered to so that we can make sure that we hear from everyone. At the end of the program, we're going to hear first from our in-person attendees, and then we'll answer any questions submitted online through the YouTube live chat feature. And if you have any questions, specifically want to talk one-on-one with staff, you've already seen we're very accessible. We're happy to chat with you one-on-one. Or if you're online, you can also find our contact information on our website at www.sctpo.com. So to kick us off for the night, we're going to play a quick video for an overview of the Space Coast TPO and what we do. So here it is.
The Space Coast is growing. We're reaching for the stars. But how do we get around on the ground? The Space Coast Transportation Planning Organization is planning now to meet our transportation needs of tomorrow. From roads and rails and ports to trails, we're looking at how we can invest in regional mobility, safety, and resiliency to keep us moving while also keeping us connected. Whether you're running errands, going to work, or planning your weekend, what kind of transportation options would help you get to your destinations? Autonomous shuttles? Improved bike lanes? Passenger rail? You have the power to shape the future of transportation. Visit SCTPO.com or follow us on social media to get involved. Let's advance transportation together.
All right. It's now my pleasure to introduce the Executive Director of the Space Coast TPO, Georgiana Gillette. Throughout her 34 years of experience in the transportation industry, Ms. Gillette has established professional relationships with transportation leaders throughout the region and the state. In her role, Ms. Gillette oversees regional transportation planning for 16 municipalities and the county, and has a unique opportunity to collaborate with 5 transportation modes right here on the Space Coast: highways, airports, rail, a seaport, and of course a spaceport. As Executive Director, Ms. Gillette is dedicated to developing master plans that are meaningful, implementable, and cutting edge. She passionately strives to develop and foster regional multimodal transportation projects that improve quality of life and economic development. With over $1 billion programmed for transportation projects over the next 5 years, the TPO's vision comes to life, and our future is interconnected at all levels. Please join me in welcoming Georgiana to the podium.
Thank you, Abby. I really appreciate that. Well, welcome everyone. We value your time tonight, and so thank you very much for being here. So I'm going to start out with, who is the Space Coast TPO? Our organization may not be familiar to some of you. We are the federally mandated metropolitan planning organization for Brevard. What that means is we plan, prioritize, transportation projects with state and federal funds. Collaboration is key to this process. We collaborate with FDOT, our local governing bodies, and transportation agencies to ensure we carry out regional planning with a common vision for the future. Our governing board consists of 19 members comprised of all elected officials, including 5 county commissioners, a port commissioner, and 13 city council members from across the county. And this is done to ensure that the elected officials have a say in community matters and that they can set policy. We continuously monitor the conditions of our transportation system. We have an extensive traffic count database, and we keep track of congestion, crashes, and trends in all modes. So why are we here? Tell us what matters most to you. The role of our citizens in transportation planning cannot be overstated. What do you envision for Brevard, and what are your top priorities? So we encourage you to ask questions about transportation planning and the funding process. We have a variety of stations and activities to take part in after the presentation. The planning process involves making transportation decisions and planning, selecting, and prioritizing projects within a region for implementation. So planning, projects, and funding. We develop transportation plans to fix short and long-term needs. That is how we achieve our vision and advance transportation together. The process is important because it decides how a substantial amount of state and federal funding, transportation funding, is spent. So because of the limited funding, we must work together to prioritize the regional needs and determine the best solutions with the money that is anticipated over the coming years. And it's done through the 3C approach. It is a continuing and ongoing process. It's cooperative with our transportation partners, federal, state, and local, and most important, our citizens. And finally, it's comprehensive. You know, you think about transportation as a comprehensive system of ways that things and people move around, multimodal and connected. You need to look at the entire metropolitan planning, metropolitan area, considering all strategies and transportation modes in the context of land use, economic development, and environment. You know, we're quintimodal, 5 modes of transportation, as most of you know: space, sea, air, rail, and roads, which includes bicycles and pedestrians. Our economic engines depend on good access to function effectively. So funding the future. The draft fiscal year 27 through 31 Transportation Improvement Program is under a 30-day public comment period. So the TIP, we call it the TIP, it's a short-range listing of projects by phase anticipated to be implemented over the next 5 years with state and federal funding. It includes every type of travel mode. Projects in the TIP help bring our vision to life, which is to have a safe, multimodal, innovative, and resilient transportation system for all. This is our planning bridge to kind of help explain the relationship between all of these plans and programs. It begins with our long-range plan, which is the foundation for all of our transportation investments. It sets the vision. As projects receive funding, the project or the phase will eventually move off the list of project priorities into the FDOT's 5-year work program, and then subsequently the TIP. Both of the TIP and the work program must be consistent. And of course, there's public involvement throughout the process. The draft TIP lists 110 projects amounting to $1.2 billion over the next 5 years. Florida has estimated that for every dollar invested in the DOT's work program, it yields an average of $4.26 of personal and business benefits. And this is a breakdown of all of the projects, the work type and the mode in our transportation improvement program. There's everything from spaceport to maintenance to sidewalks included in the TIP. This is real money on real projects that improve our quality of life, safety, and economic development for Brevard County. As you can see, the lion's share of the funding is coming from the Spaceport Improvement Program, so it's for space. Seems like a lot of money going to space. But one thing, I want to point out is that, like 40% of that funding is from the private industry. So they are matching the funds. So it is a very strategic use of state funds. And it's also a statewide program. Even though the majority of the projects are happening in Brevard County, it does cover the whole state of Florida. So at the end of the day, this is good news for Brevard County. So I want to talk about some successes before Sarah talks about some of our other priorities. The Ellis Road widening. It's one of the largest and biggest widening projects that has been included in the TIP over the past few years. The early clearing and grubbing contract was completed ahead of schedule by FDOT. The utility work is underway right now in advance of the full construction phase. The construction contract was just awarded, Massey Contractors, and the full construction will begin later in the fall. It's going to be a 2.5-year contract, and this is a huge win for Brevard County. It's a project that's been on the priority list for many, many years, and it took a lot of funding partners to actually push this over the line. I just want to show a very quick, short video that FDOT put together of the clearing and grubbing. So it's always exciting to see dirt moving and progress being made when it comes to our transportation projects. So now I just want to talk just a little bit about some of the major accomplishments over the past 25 years, because reflecting on investments made over the past 25 years, it's good to take a step back. And it helps us to look at our long-range plan and to see, okay, what have we accomplished? A lot of widening projects on the left-hand column. The I-95 6-laning throughout Brevard County was over the past 25 years. The US 1 6-laning in Rockledge and Cocoa. The Palm Bay Road 6-laning. Barnes Boulevard 4-laning. And of course the current Ellis Road 4-laning, which is now beginning finally. It's rare to witness 5 new interchanges on I-95 in Brevard County, and you can see them there. I-95 at the St. John's Heritage Parkway, the Ellis Road interchange, Vieira Boulevard, Port St. John Parkway interchange, which was constructed as part of the widening, and the Pineda Causeway interchange. Several critical intersection projects which really enhance operations and safety. There's a lot of bang for the buck when you do intersection projects. Babcock at Malabar, Babcock at US 192, US 192 at Wickham and Minton, Wickham and NASA Boulevard realignment. And so these are major intersection projects that add capacity without having to widen the road. And of course our pedestrian and bicycle and trail facilities with the Brevard Zoo Trail and our regional trails in the north part of the county. We don't want to forget about those phases that are prior to construction, some other priorities that we have. Design phases for State Road 524, Clear Lake Road, Malabar Road, and Babcock Street PD&E in Palm Bay. And of course, I'm sorry, let me back up here and let me talk about the bridge projects. The Pineda Causeway Bridge over the Florida East Coast Railway, State Road 528 eastbound bridge over the Indian River, Max Brewer bridge replacement, and the NASA Causeway bridge replacement, which was huge. This was critical for space freight and for the workforce out at the Space Center. And then we have some other projects as well that we had worked on with our local governments, the St. John's Heritage Parkway, a new alignment in Palm Bay and Melbourne, the Apollo Boulevard extension, the Brevard Regional Traffic Management Center, which is under construction right now, and of course all of the work that we have been doing to support the potential intermodal station in the city of Cocoa for the Brightline station, and the grants that have been submitted in that effort. But at the end of the day, $1.1 billion in investments over the last 25 years, and these are our priority projects. So this is outside of the maintenance and all of the other modes. This is for really surface transportation projects. So, you know, challenges and opportunities. We have some challenges, but we also have some opportunities on the horizon. One problem is that we lack sufficient federal, state, and local resources to satisfy our transportation needs. Gas taxes are a user fee, and they're the main source of funding for highway projects. We have more fuel-efficient cars, alternative fuel. Electric vehicles don't pay any gas tax, but yet they're putting wear and tear on our roadways. The cost of maintaining and building roads and bridges have shot up significantly. We have very high land prices because the DOT has to own the land before they start building on it. This business model is not sustainable. We've also seen an increase in job growth and population. So at the end of the day, more resources need to be brought into the picture. On the other side of the coin, we have some exciting opportunities with advancement of new technologies and innovations. We have connected and autonomous vehicles, autonomous micro shuttles like Beep, in various Central Florida locations to support that first and last mile solutions. We often talk about how to improve our roads, but how do we utilize them better? Brevard's Regional Traffic Management Center will allow you to squeeze more capacity, improve operations, and improve safety on the fly in real time by controlling and monitoring signals. So we continue to invest in intelligent transportation system, making sure that we have the fiber installed to connect those signals. And then the advanced air mobility. Florida is a leader in that area, and that is using an electrical vertical takeoff landing aircraft to carry passengers and cargo. And so in the future, you know, we could have these flying Ubers and flying cars around. And so FDOT has really taken a big lead in that effort. And then, of course, the passenger rail that hopefully one day in the future we would be getting a Brightline station. So these are some amazing innovations that may be in the short term and in the long term that we look forward to. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Sarah so she can dig into projects a little more.
All right, good evening. I'm Sarah Crom. I'm the Senior Transportation Planner with the Space Coast TPO. So projects face the challenges and opportunities that Georgiana just outlined, but they also face the challenge of time. If everything goes absolutely perfect and all the money just is flowing nicely, a project could still take more than 8 years. Phases such as planning, environmental, and design take time, but are vital to ensure the correct project is built in the correct location and meets the community needs. Construction alone can take over 3 years. Many of the projects that are within our list of project priorities and long-range transportation plan are going to take 15 to 20 years to go through the cycle. And really, they won't happen if we don't find a way to fund these projects. So where do these projects come from in the first place? Projects are first identified in our long-range transportation plan and move through the planning bridge as Georgiana outlined. The long-range transportation plan is a federally required document that forecasts the travel demands along the Space Coast. It looks into the future, and identifies and prioritizes the transportation needs of our community. It also develops a budget called a cost feasible plan. In order for projects to receive certain state and federal funds, they have to be within that long-range transportation plan cost feasible plan. Where do the projects come from that go into our long-range transportation plan? Well, they come from you, the public, and supports your interests and your input. It also comes from local partner plans, such as city comprehensive plans or our modal partners master plans. We then also help identify projects through our state of the system, which monitors the safety and congestion along our roadways, as well as also conducting corridor studies. We then have 5 master plans: the Vision Zero, Complete Streets, Bicycle and Pedestrian, Intelligent Transportation System, and then finally our Resiliency Master Plan. Projects from these plans, as well as the Long-Range Transportation Plan, are submitted by our local partners, so the municipalities that you all live in. They are only submitted if they're seeking state or federal funds. So when you look at our long-range transportation plan or our list of project priorities, these projects are reflective of not projects that are pursuing local funds, but rather certain state and federal funds. They are then prioritized onto our list of project priorities based on the readiness and a performance and outcome-driven quantitative scoring based on safety, transportation and land use, resiliency and sustainability, innovation, and multi-mobility. We can prioritize projects all the time, but without the available funding to implement, projects will continue to sit on our list of project priorities. It is anticipated that we will only be able to fund 9% of our transportation improvement needs in the next 25 years. This is due to inflation, increase in material costs, as well as also a decrease in available funds. Ultimately, to continue to meet the transportation needs of our community, we need to increase our available transportation funding by $2.4 billion at least over the next 25 years. So some of the projects that we are looking to fill that funding gap for are as follows. We have the State Road 528 6-laning and the State Road 401 bridge replacement. This is 3 projects that total over $1 billion. You have $396 million, $366 million, $260 million. The 528 project does include bridge replacements as well as also a 12-foot multi-use trail that's part of the East Coast Greenway. So it is a very robust project, but these projects are just incredibly expensive. And also to note, these projects support space, tourism, our residents, and Port Canaveral. I-95. Within District 5 of FDOT, I-95 traverses Brevard, Volusia, and Flagler counties with a total of 137 miles and 31 interchanges. Brevard County has over half of I-95 within District 5. There are 19 interchanges that provide access to our residential areas, commercial areas, tourism hubs, and space facilities. I-95 is one of the oldest facilities on the interstate highway system. The entire corridor is about 1,917 miles and connects 110 million people. I-95 is a major freight and hurricane evacuation route. The amount of freight traffic on I-95 is approximately 15.6% of all traffic in Brevard County. FDOT is looking at minor improvements and working with our municipalities, but a larger project will need to be in the future in order to continue to support freight in our communities. Going a little bit more localized, we have the State Road 524 4-laning in Cocoa from South Friday Road to Industry Road. This includes widening, intersection improvements, as well as also bike ped facilities. The PD&E is complete. The design was funded by the Space Coast TPO in the city of Cocoa and has been awarded. And currently we are awaiting updated right-of-way and construction estimates, so we really know what that vector is that we're lacking in funding for this project. Going further to the south, as Palm Bay continues to grow and boom, the need to widen Malabar Road from St. John's Heritage Parkway to Mitten Road is vital. This also includes bike ped facilities as well as transit stop improvements. The purpose of this project is to provide additional capacity improvements and to address the corridor's intersection and safety issues. The PD&E has been completed. It was last year. The design phase, once again, the TPO and the City of Palm Bay came together as partners to fund the design. And so that's been awarded, and then right-of-way is $2.4 million, utility relocation is $9.7 million, and then construction is also unfunded, and that should actually say greater than $160 million. So very expensive project that's really needed. So what can you do to help fill this funding gap? Well, you can be an advocate for new and additional transportation funding sources, such as local option gas tax, discretionary sales surtaxes, or impact fees. You can also get involved like you did tonight. You can attend meetings like these meetings, or TPO meetings, or your city council meetings. Talk to your friends and neighbors, as well as also talking to your local elected officials. Currently, the Space Coast TPO is soliciting for public comments on its draft fiscal year 2028 list of project priorities and draft fiscal year 2027 to 2031 transportation improvement program. Public citizens may review and provide comments on both documents now through June 20th, as well as we also have information at tables here tonight. At this point in the program, we will now be taking public comments. As you know, we have attendees in the room, but we also have some that have opted to join online. So we'd like to review the public comment process. As a reminder, the Space Coast TPO adheres to Title VI policy. Public comments are solicited without regard to race, color, national origin, age, sex, religion, disability, or family status. In-person attendees may fill out a speaker card upon arrival or at any point in the program. If viewing online and you wish to make a public comment regarding the open house, the draft list of project priorities, or draft transportation improvement program, you may submit comments via the chat, or you can email them to Abby at abby.hemingway@sctpo.com. Excuse me. Please label your email as public comment and include your name, email, and phone number. All applicable submitted public comments virtually will be read aloud during the public comment portion of the program. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes, and this time frame will be adhered to in order to ensure that we hear all submitted comments. We'll first take comments from our in-person attendees and then virtually. One-on-one questions and discussions can be addressed with relevant staff following the presentation, and of course you can always get a hold of us via our email or phone that in all of our business cards are located with Abby in the back. All right, so I do have one public comment. I have Lisa Adams. So Lisa, if you'd like to come up to the microphone, and I will then, you have another one? Okay. All right, thank you, Lisa.
Hi, I am a resident of Brevard County. I live in Titusville, and I just want to say that I really appreciate having good mass transit in the area. It is so important for everyone to be able to get where they need to go when they need to be there. And also, it does help to uplift nonviolence when you can get where you need to go when you need to get there and be on time to different places and different events. And once again, it is so important to have good mass transit. And since I'm up here, I'm just going to talk about something else related to transportation. Sidewalks. I know that you can set it up so that sidewalks are a little bit narrower, because of regulations in different communities. I support wide sidewalks at all times because sometimes you have someone using a mobility aid and a narrow sidewalk is not wide enough for them and their caregiver. Sometimes it's not wide enough for them and the device that they use. So I just want to encourage, when you're planning, please encourage outdoor use, encourage mass transit, encourage wide sidewalks. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. I have Gerald Jordan. Did I say that right? Gerald? Oh, I'm sorry.
Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening, everyone. I just wanted to make some comments. Well, let's restart the clock.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's give you back your time there. Okay.
Well, what I wanted to talk about was just the basic item I saw on your slides was public input was where things start. Well, I recently attended back in February the DOT's project for the State Road 3 median project coming up Courtney. And ever since then, we've been trying to get some public input into DOT's plan. And we feel like we have been kicked to the curb because they've already got it set in their mind where they want to go. So what I wanted to do is, based on some of the slides you showed, I would like the question to be asked where that project is in your 1 through 6 project phases, so that we see if we still got time to maybe make some adjustments. Because one of the things you talk about is funding. We believe, if I am not mistaken, a traffic light costs about what to install a traffic light at an intersection? About 3 to 5 million, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, like a full new intersection would be probably 3 to 5,
Okay.
but
Installing a traffic light at an existing intersection.
yeah,
Okay. So their plan.
depending on environmental and that. Sorry, that's a really difficult number to pin down.
Yeah, gotcha. So their plan is to put a traffic light somewhere where our neighborhood thinks there's a waste of money, and to adjust that traffic light at our neighborhood, which serves double the amount of businesses and triple the amount of residents. So I've talked to Abby, got some information from her about the corridor, the accident studies, and I'm actually reaching out to Deb Mayfield now, because she has, since she sits on DOT's funding committee, because everyone from the sheriff's department to other folks have just kind of like said, well, they're not going to touch it. It's a hotbed, and to me, they're agreeing with DOT blindly, which also, every time I talk to everyone, they say, oh, the county signed off on it. So since it's tax dollars we're talking about, and the public is the one who pays those tax dollars, I want to get our opinion more attention. I think that's, okay?
Yes, thank
you,
you.
ma'am.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if there's something that I can answer, I just kind of wanted to clarify. The State Road 3 Access Management Project that you are referring to, I know that the department had a public meeting, and that is a project that is specifically being implemented due to safety. The department was able to get federal safety funding, which, to be able to get your hands on that sort of funding, you have to prove from a data collection standpoint that there is a high serious injury or fatality rate over a 5-year period. And I actually live North Merritt Island, so I can tell you that I see there are crashes on Courtney all the time.
Daily.
And also, specifically pedestrians have a hard time, in certain sections where there's not a sidewalk, or the sidewalk is not wide enough. So it is we adopt Vision Zero as a county, and safety of you have to get permitting through DOT.
It's actually
understanding.
called out on the plan.
On their plan?
On their plan, yes.
Yes, and I think that they do call that out because it does kind of affect the access management along the corridor, but I think it's 2 separate projects that are being done on that corridor.
Okay.
But have you made a public comment to DOT?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
We have been petitioning them ever since that public meeting.
Okay, and
we've
did
been-
you
And we've been
send it in?
We've been kicked to the curb and given generic data with no thing. I've actually already emailed directly to Mr. Jarrett, what's his name? The Secretary of DOT. I've emailed directly to him.
John Tyler?
John Tyler, thank you.
Yes.
And also down to the District 5 Director.
May
The
I
reason-
ask, is it the access management that you are frustrated with, or is it the signal that you're talking
It
about?
is actually their whole premise of why they're putting and how they're doing it. They're saying they're going to eliminate a conflict zone, but in our opinion, they're actually eliminating one and creating 2. Because at our intersection, which has a high volume, they're going to force us to go and make a U-turn to the north or make a U-turn to the south to get on either side of Courtney. So thereby creating 2 or more conflict points, which is on the safety side. So I would love to talk to you later about it and just,
Okay.
just get some information and
Okay,
just
well,
talk about it.
thank
Okay?
you. I appreciate you bringing it to everyone's attention.
And
your
the reason being,
comments.
because you say funding is the issue. So you're going to spend approximately $3 million on a light on a site that doesn't need it, when you can move it 288 feet to where it can be served better.
All right.
Thank you. Abby, do we have any more public comment cards for in-person attendees? Do we have any virtual public comments? Okay, thank you. All right, so to wrap up, we would like to encourage you to attend our learning stations if you haven't already. We have many activities in the room tonight where you can learn more about the transportation planning process and chat in more detail with staff. We have the projects in orbit, which is down there in the middle, and that is an opportunity for you to review our list of project priorities and help shape priorities within for fiscal year 2028. We have Get With The Program, and that is focused on our transportation improvement program, so you can see where the transportation funding will be going over the next 5 years. We have Pavements to Plans back there, where you can learn about a project's journey and really what all goes into each phase and how long these phases last. We have Build a Safer Street back there, and you can try your hand at interactive street design. We have Traffic Safety Law Challenge to test knowledge and bust common roadway myths. And then finally, we have Meet the SCTPO right in the back, connect with our team, and also grab some safety swag. To help inform our public engagement planning efforts, please be sure to take our quick survey. You can either scan the QR code, I'll also leave this up in a second, or in your thank you email that you'll receive, you'll have a direct link. We would also like to encourage you to stay connected with us. You'll find the latest transportation planning trending topics, news, and also please be sure to share on social media and connect with us. And I'm going to leave it up here, and thank you all for attending, and please come engage with us.